This short video looks at the different parts of the periodic table. And to look at those, you really need to understand periodic law, which says that if you put the elements in increasing atomic number, you'll find that those elements end up grouped according to their properties, and that those properties show up at regular intervals. In fact, it turns out that columns on the periodic table are really elements with similar chemical properties. For instance, the first column on the periodic table is called the alkaline metals because they all behave in a particular way in chemical reactions, or similar ways. The alkaline earth metals is the second column. The halogens is the 17th, and the noble gases is the very last column on the periodic table. You want to be aware of what these four particular groups of elements, just because sometimes someone will say something like, oh, tell me where the alkaline metals are, or is this particular element an alkaline metal or not? And you can say, oh, well, yes, it is, because it's located in the first column, or no, it's not. Let's take a look at the periodic table to illustrate some of these points. So that first column, actually let me back up a moment and talk about the way that the columns are numbered. So there are two different ways that columns get numbered, either 1 through 18, or using these Roman numerals. And older periodic tables tend to use the Roman numerals, and newer periodic tables tend to use the 1 through 18. And students find them useful or not useful for a variety of reasons. Any periodic table that I would give you to use on an exam would have one of these present, so it's not something you need to memorize. What you do want to recognize is that this first column, as we were discussing, these are the alkaline metals. The second column, right there, those are the alkaline earth metals. The 17th, as we discussed, those are the halogens. And then the last column right here, these are the noble gases. The periodic table has some other interesting areas to note. This line right here that runs through this area of the periodic table splits the metals from the nonmetals. Nonmetals are located on the right side of that line, and metals, including these guys down here, are located to the left side of the line. You'll also sometimes hear terms like main group. Main group will refer to the first two columns is the first two columns plus the last 6. You might also hear the term transition metals. In this periodic table, they're highlighted in pink. They're pink here. Or you might hear something like inner transition metals. And that's these guys highlighted in yellow.